Hello and welcome to another episode. I'm Brian, the Unskilled Commander. As you may notice, we're back to the fisheye lens, which I hate, but it's in an effort to try and make sure that the audio is better, which I'm not entirely sure it's that much better. With a couple tests, it was a little metallic-y and tingy, and I'm sorry. Unfortunately, this is just going to have to be the way things are for a while. I just don't have the room or money to go buying a bunch of boom microphones and rigging them up around the table and all that kind of stuff. There's some things I can try and experiment with over my upcoming vacation to see if I can figure something out. But as it stands, I have to use the microphone that's in the webcams, and those microphones aren't the best, and they're meant to be directly in front of the camera. Maybe like 2 feet away as you're sitting at a computer, not 4 feet away or so walking around a table. So they just don't pick it up as well. And being in an apartment, I can't go, screaming at the top of my lungs with a high volume to have it pick up better. So hopefully the sound is a little bit better. I mean, the quality of the camera is good, like the detail's good. It's just I just can't stand that bendiness at the edges. It just upsets me for some reason. I don't know. I don't like it because it's not natural. The table's not bending, but whatever. Irrelevant, and hopefully it doesn't affect your enjoyment of the content. I appreciate you checking in and watching the episode. If you're not already a subscriber, wouldn't mind if you would do that, please. Maybe throw some likes around. I hope you're having a good day. I hope you had some decent holidays coming up and going. I'm not sure when this will air. This is probably going to air sometime mid-December, so we'll have a holiday coming up, a couple holidays. Hope they're enjoyable for you. Today, hopefully, this batch of three, this is match one. Hopefully, it's going to be a fun set because these are going to be three of some of my better decks. Over the last couple months, we've been seeing a bunch of built from scraps that I had just to get some ideas out there and stuff. Fun decks, a lot of them I'm going to keep and try and upgrade, but they're still, bottom levels. These are my more fine-tuned decks back that you've seen before, but this was going to be an interesting matchup, hopefully, because it's four different types of win cons. So we've got Sheoldred, which is, of course, indirect damage. We've got Kemba, which is straight combat damage. We've got Animar, which is a newer deck and not optimized quite as well as the other ones are, but it's just big green stompy, so it's combat damage. So it shouldn't be, they don't really need to be hyper high tuned. It's just a lot of mana ramp, big creatures with trample, swing out. Not super complicated. And finally, we've got Atraxa for the poison damage, which is why I have this really awesome Arcade Post poison counter token there. And I know there's probably poison counters in the app, but I do like this, and I like the idea of being able to just, once they start getting damage, put the dice around the corners representing each of the characters, and tracking the damage that way. So we're going to see who can get the win the most and see who gets there fastest. Roll the dice already, and Sheoldred is going to go first. We draw for turn, and that's right off the bat. That's a, well, I guess I can do it that way. We will play a swamp, tapping the swamp for Nat Miser. A 1/1. Each opponent's maximum hand size is reduced by 1. So now all of their hand sizes is maximum of 6, so they're going to have to make sure they play cards, and that means they're all going to most likely have to discard down on their turns. That's a big deal for turn 1. Can I just top deck that? So it's giving Sheoldred the lead already. But we're going to go ahead and pass over to here. Okay, upkeep, draw. Unfortunately, we got ourselves a Frozen Birds. It's going to come in tapped. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have to get rid of something. I guess we'll try and get rid of Finale of Devastation. That's not going to be useful anytime soon. And we will pass. Draw for turn over here. We're going to play a Terramorphic Expanse, cracking it for a Forest. We don't have any 1-drops, so we're going to have to dump something. And I will get rid of Cave Sun. Again, that's not going to come into play anytime soon, so we might as well get rid of it. That lowering the maximum hand size is definitely going to be a problem for these other three decks for the first couple turns. We're going to pass. Going to play an Evolving Wilds, crack it for a Plains. Yes, we'll get rid of Godsend. Definitely going to be a tricky, it's going to hurt Kemba a lot too because we've got some decent low cost cards, but until I get a couple mana out, I can't start casting them yet. And there's no mana rocks on anybody's turn really, so we're going to pass. That's crazy, man. Turn 1, Sheoldred coming in, clutch right off the bat. So we untap, upkeep, draw. I will play Gaia Reach Sanitarium. We have 6 cards in hand. I can attack, so we will. We'll go ahead and ping you for 1, because Infect is pretty dangerous. Pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw. I'm going to play a Sky Cloud Expanse. You pay 1 and tap it to add white or blue to your thing. So I'm going to do that. Basically, right now, we'll consider them together to make white blue and put Blighted Agent on the field. A 1/1 with Infect. A Blighted Agent is unblockable. So we said Sheoldred took the lead early, but now Infect's got itself poised to get going. And we don't have to discard down, so we'll pass. Untap, upkeep, draw. An island for turn. Luckily, we don't have to discard down, but we don't have anything else to do. We'll pass. Untap, upkeep, draw. Play a plains. Same thing, we don't have to discard down, but we don't have anything we can do, so we'll pass. Untap, upkeep, draw. I'll play a swamp for turn, tapping all 3 to play Phyrexian Arena. At the beginning of your upkeep, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. So I'll put this there to remind myself I have an upkeep trigger. Now it's unblockable, so we don't need to worry about holding back. And I will swing again at you. Normally I would go around the board, just spread it out evenly, but with an unblockable Infect on the field, we need to start doing damage, and they're not going to block it, so they'll take 1, and then we pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw turn. I'll play Flooded Grove. It taps for colorless, or you can pay a blue or a green and tap it to make either double green, double blue, or a green and a blue. I think what we'll do is we'll tap 2 and sacrifice Crows and Verge to go get a forest card or a plains and a plains card. Wait. For a forest card and a plains card, put them into the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. Oh, I didn't know it was both. I may have been doing that wrong for quite some time, although I barely use those search lands. I'm going to get 2 different triomes for the forest and the plains. We'll get Indoth the Triome and Zagoth Triome. So that's a pretty good upgrade there. And we're going to move to combat. And since you attacked us first, you will get the first poison counter. Now, it doesn't actually do damage, but it does give you an infect. We're going to pass turn. At this point, our only hope is for the 3 of them to turn into arch enemy and take out infect as quickly as possible. We're going to untap, upkeep, draw. Cinder Glade, but unfortunately, it comes in tapped unless you control 2 or more basics. Haha, I do. So it comes in untapped. That's good. Well, we're going to tap all 3 to play Animar, Soul of Elements. It's a 1/1 with protection from white and from black. Whenever you cast a creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on it, and then the creature spells cost 1 less to cast for each +1 on it. I still have 6 cards, so I don't have to discard down. We'll go ahead and pass. Untap, upkeep, draw. We're going to play a plains for turn. I guess we will tap all 3 for Kemba. Regent, a 2/4. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a 2/2 white cat creature token on the battlefield for each equipment attached to Kemba. Nothing else we can do. We have 6 cards, so no need to discard down. We will pass. We're going to untap, upkeep trigger. We draw a card and we lose a life, and then we draw a card for turn. Well, that's not good. We do not have extra mana. Well, unfortunately, we're just going to tap 2 and play Swiftfoot Boots. Going to move to combat, ping you again for 1. There's nothing else we can do. No discarding, we pass. Untap, upkeep, draw. Going to play an Orzhov Guildgate comes in tapped. Ooh, okay, yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to tap 1, 2, and 3 to play Phyresis Outbreak. Each opponent gets a poison counter. Then each creature your opponents control get -1/-1 for each poison counter they control. That's going to start killing off creatures right there. So they get a poison counter, as do they, and they get a second one. Now all of the creatures get -1/-1 for each counter. You get -2. That's destroyed. You get -1. Unfortunately, that means Animar is destroyed. And now costs 2 more to cast, so that was a useless play. Kemba thankfully survives, and then we move to combat. We will swing this at Kemba because they survived. Now they have 2 poison counters as well. We're going to go ahead and pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn. We'll play this basic forest. We're going to tap 4 for Quicksilver Amulet. Pay 4 and tap it. You may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. Was that the best play? Probably not. We will take that back, untapping one of these to play Managorger Hydra instead. So 1/1 with trample. Whenever a player casts a spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Managorger Hydra. That is all we can do. We will pass. Untap, upkeep, draw over here. Play a plains. Tapping 3 to play Strata Scythe. When it enters the battlefield, search your library for a land card, exile it. Set the library and equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each land on the battlefield with the same name. Obviously, we got basic planes. So when we're able to equip this to Kemba, which still won't be until next turn, she'll get +4/+4. However, we're going to definitely swing at you for 2. 1, 2. That is Commander. Hang on, let's do that. There we go. But yeah, not looking too good. We'll pass. Untap, upkeep trigger. We draw a card and we lose a life. And then we, oops, shoot. Then we draw a card per turn. All right, thankfully that's a reliquary tower, so that does negate. Oh wait, why was I worried about discarding down for this guy? We were the ones that had the Gnat Miser, and nobody has to discard down now since Gnat Miser is dead anyway. However, more importantly, we're going to tap all 4 to play Sheoldred, the Apocalypse. A 4/5 with Death Touch. Whenever you draw a card, you gain 2 life. Whenever an opponent draws a card, they lose 2 life. There's nothing else we can do, however, we're going to pass. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn, lose 2 life. We're going to tap 2 to play Swiftfoot Boots, and then we will tap 3 to play Phyrexian-less. It taps for 1 mana of any color, and it has Corrupted. Whenever it gets tapped, each opponent who has 3 or more poison counters loses 1 life. We're now going to move to combat. Boom, we're going to swing that at you. However, I missed it. We played some spells. We played 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means Managorger Hydra gets +4/+4. It was, yeah, that's the only thing we played there. All we did over there was play the strata. Yep, okay. And then we did the damage, and now everyone's even. We will pass. Now it looks like Infect has a good shot at winning, but everyone's definitely ganging up on them. And Managorger Hydra is going to be big, so it's going to be. That's the problem with Infect. It's a fun deck, but unless you're able to really perfectly ramp super fast and get the exact cards, you're probably not going to win. Everyone's so hyper scared of Infect because it's only 10 infected to take someone out, which I get, but it never gets there. It's not not a super viable commander strategy because you can take out 1 person most likely, maybe even 2, but you're rarely going to have the chance to take out all 3 opponents. We untapped over here. We draw a card for turn, but we're going to take 2 damage. Then I will tap 4 and play the enchantment Abundance. If you would draw a card, you may instead choose land or non-land. Let's put that there. It's not an upkeep trigger, but it's just to try and remind myself that I have to do the special. You may choose land or non-land, and reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal the card of the chosen kind. Put that card into your hand, put the rest in the bottom of your library in any order. I will then play Gruul Turf. Comes in tapped, and I will bounce this forest back to my hand. I played a spell, so this is going to go up. So now we're going to move to combat. It is a 6/6 with trample. We're absolutely just sending it to you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Boom. Already done at 27. We will then pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw, take 2 damage. Play a land for turn. We're going to tap 3 and equip Strata Scythe to Kemba. And let's see, do we have anything that we can pay for? Nope, we have nothing that we can cast for 2. But we can move to combat and swing. She is now 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. She's a 7. Wait, yeah. She's a 7, 9. The question, though, is do we actually need to do that? We didn't play a spell, we just equipped, so that's not going to go up. And my thought process is, obviously the Infect is real. Everyone's got 2. They can definitely pull out Atraxa next turn. They have the Swiftfoot Boots specifically online to put onto her so that she's a little bit more protected. That's a thing. But that's going to start doing stuff, and so is that. So we don't want to just only take out 1 threat and then get stumped by everybody else. But, like I said, I guess at this point, while it has the potential to be scary with just everyone playing spells, and Kemba does have a Path to Exile in hand for anything that starts to get crazy and come at us. And if we need to take out Sheoldred or the Gorger, it's not that big a deal. So we will send 7 damage, commander damage, at you. Down to 20. We will pass turn. And we're going to put this here because we also have an upkeep trigger now because of the equip. Untap, upkeep, we draw a card, we gain 2 life, but we also lose a life because of the Phyrexian Arena. Then we draw a card for turn, and we gain 2 life. Now, here's the funny thing. We've actually got quite a bit of good stuff in hand. However, we can't play it yet because we're not getting any land. So what we'll do is we'll tap 4 to play. Well, wait a second. No, shoot. Yes, we should definitely tap 1 to equip Swiftfoot Boots, giving haste and hexproof. The hexproof is the more important one, which means we only have 3 mana left. We'll tap 1, 2, 3, play Master of the Feast. That is casting a spell. At the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent. At the beginning of my upkeep, each opponent draws a card. So that won't really help much until next turn, so we'll have to see. But now, as we said, Sheoldred is now protected from Path of Exile that Sheoldred, of course, doesn't know they have, but regardless. We do have a Death Toucher, we could swing. We have a blocker now, so that is a thing. I guess we should. Normally I don't really swing with Sheoldred, but everybody's open. Again, we could swing there. We probably should, I suppose. Because once, Atraxa out, Atraxa has Death Touch and Lifelink, so second they block, they start getting some of their life back. Alright, I hate to do it, but I guess we'll send Sheoldred at you. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn, take 2 damage. We'll play a Morphic Pool. Return comes in tapped, or untapped because we have 2 or more opponents. Alright, let's see. We have to do this actually properly. Black, white, blue. Tap that for green. To play Atraxa, Praetor's Voice. A flying 4/4 with Vigilance, Death Touch, Lifelink at the beginning of your end step, proliferate. Alright, we're going to tap 1 colorless to attach Swiftfoot Boots to Lighted Agent, or not to Lighted Agent, to Atraxa. Now, here's the thing, we do have that Path to Exile. We wasted it there. Now, the second someone says, oh, I'm going to move to equip, that's when you instant speed say, in response, tap a white, Path to Exile Atraxa, which I guess is what we have to do. So we're going to tap, play Path to Exile, targeting Atraxa. She gets blown up, costs 2 more to cast. Swiftfoot Boots don't go equipping anywhere. However, we cast a spell, so this goes up. And Path to Exile means land, so we get a basic land card on the battlefield tapped. The reason is, like, normally that's a really cool full art Path to Exile that doesn't have any wording on it, so I always get Path to Exile and Swords to Plowshares confused, but I started thinking of it as a path going somewhere on land, so you get a land, and Swords to Plowshares is a little more convoluted, but it's Swords to Plowshares, you plow a farm to make food, so you gain life. Food, makes you healthy. Swords to Plowshares lets you gain life equal to the mana cost of the creature destroyed. Think. And that might be wrong. I could have them totally backwards, but I'm pretty sure that's the right way to do it. And so, anyway, we will then instead tap 1 blue, and yes, we'll tap that into this to make a blue and a white to cast Experimental Augur. Look at the top 3 cards of my library, put 1 of them into the hand, the rest on the bottom, and then we proliferate. Alright, we will put the Arcane Signet into the hand. We don't have to reveal that or anything, I'm just saying. And then the other 2 lands, so we'll put them on the bottom. But more importantly, we proliferate. Boom, boom, and boom. That has trample. Actually, well, see, I want to swing out with this. However, that's an 8. That's going to clock us. She does not have trample, so she would be the next one swinging. We could block with that and survive. 6, and then Sheoldred comes in, and we would just, no, there's a flyer. So they can all kill us on our next turn. Or before our next turn, they can kill us. However, these 2, no, wait. I proliferated, so that was what made everything go up to 3. So technically, I should have played that first, and then played Atraxa, tapping this so that everyone would have lost a life, but that 1 life loss really wasn't going to matter much. Yes, I don't know. I'm tempted to, not swing Kemba at this direction because Sheoldred can definitely kill it on their turn, so maybe have Kemba go over there. Because this is definitely coming here, that's going to be 8, that's going to put us down to 6. A flyer and the Death Touch would come over. So technically, if they blocked, so they could actually survive with 1 life, and then recast Atraxa to proliferate one more time, but that would only be 4. And again, big tramples and a flyer, so it's like it really would just prolong it one time. I guess we'll try 4. We'll hold back and we will pass turn. Untap, upkeep. Oh, did I lose 2 life for drawing over there? Shoot. I think I did, but I don't know that I did. And what does this say? Does this say draw a card? No, it just says put 1 into your hand, the rest. So that didn't hit me there. I don't remember if I actually took the damage off of drawing on that. But so over here, if you would draw a card, you may instead choose land, reveal, put that card in your hand. So that actually negates, I think, that negates Sheoldred, because every time we have to draw, we're just going to put it into our hand. We don't have to actually draw. Okay, cool. So it is, in fact, does not count as draw. If it says that it puts it into your hand, that's not doesn't count as a draw trigger, which means it will not trigger Sheoldred. So Animar just found a really great loophole against that. So anyway, I'm going to say land. I'm going to choose land, so I will reveal cards until I hit a land card. Nope. 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 Yes. That is an Evolving Wilds. So put that card into your hand. Put all other cards revealed that way in the bottom of your library in any order. So it goes to my hand. I will play Evolving Wilds for turn. Well, actually, do I want to do that? Hang on. I forgot about the forest in my hand. Actually, I will play the forest first. Then I will tap 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to play Kodama of the East Tree. I played a spell, so that's going to go up. It's a 6/6 with reach. Whenever another permanent enters the battlefield under your control, if it wasn't put on the battlefield with this ability, you may put a permanent card with equal or lesser converted mana cost from your hand onto the battlefield. That's pretty cool. We're going to move to combat. We're going to go ahead and swing at you. It is a 9/9. You have a blocker. It has trample. Now, right, yeah, you don't want to do that. So you'll let the 9 go through. Down to 5, not good. That's all we can do. We'll pass. Untap up over here. Upkeep trigger. We make a cat. And then we draw for turn, taking 2 damage. That's one of my favorite equipments, so we will probably be playing that. And it is a low cost. We're going to tap 2 to play Trailblazer Boots. Equipped creature has non-basic land walk. We will then pay 2 to equip it to Kemba. She doesn't go up in power, but now she can't be blocked by anything that has a non-basic land. She can't be blocked. So that means you, and you. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. She is a 7. Now the question is, where do we want to go? Yes, we can kill Infect, but I don't think Infect, like I and Kemba don't believe Infect can win at this point. They're too low on life. Everyone else is still, they're going to draw cards, if nothing else, off of Sheoldred. They're going to die. I'm going to send it at you, although you have the highest life total. Yes, I'm going to send Kemba at you for 7 commander damage. Then we will pass turn. Over here, we're going to untap. Upkeep, we have 2 upkeep triggers. So beginning of upkeep, I'm going to draw a card, gain 2 life, then lose 1 life from Phyrexian Arena. And at the beginning of my upkeep, each opponent draws a card. So you're going to draw a card, take 2 damage. So are you and you. And then I draw for turn and gain another 2 life. Thankfully, I have that Reliquary Tower out because I got a ton of cards. But I'm not getting any mana, which is surprising and bad. So I will tap these 2 to play Jet Medallion. Black spells cost 1 less to cast. And unfortunately, that doesn't help me to cast anything right now. I'm going to move to combat, and I'm going to swing Master of Feast at you, a 5/5 flyer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm just going to pass turn and leave the Death Toucher up to block with. There's no end step triggers. We're going to come over here. We're going to untap, upkeep, draw for turn, take 2 damage. Nothing but lands. We'll play the command tower. So black or white, black, no, green and black, and then we'll tap here we go. This taps for colorless into Sky Cloud Expanse, which gives us a white and a blue. So white, blue, green, black. Then 2 others for the commander text to recast Atraxa. Oops, that's okay. I was like, wait a second. Did we cast anything? We cast 1 there, 2 here. So this is up to 10. That's not good. Yeah, we still didn't. We did cast over there. Did I? Darn it, did I grab that on him or not? I don't think I did. So I think this is technically 11. It might be. It might be a little too high. I don't know. I don't think because I played Trailblazer Boots because I loved it. I was like, oh, it's my favorite card. And I think I just started to equip it. I don't believe I picked that up. So I think we're okay. I will then tap Phyrexian Atlas and Command Tower to play Arcane Signet. Well, that is another thing, but at this point, you know, Infect's gonna die no matter what. They don't give a crap about how big that thing is for everybody else. However, when Phyrexian Atlas is tapped, if for each opponent who has 3 or more counters, they lose a life. So everybody loses a life off of that. We have 2 mana left. Unfortunately, that is not enough to do anything. Oh wait, we will attach Swiftfoot Boots. Again, not really important because she doesn't have Infect, and 4 damage on someone's not. We don't want to. At this point, we're not going to help you guys kill each other, like help somebody else win. So we're just going to move to combat. Swing this at you. You get another poison counter. We move to our end step. Atraxa proliferates, and we pass turn. Now it doesn't really matter what we do. Like yes, we do have a death touching creature there, but on our draw step, we die because of Sheoldred, unless someone kills Sheoldred. So over here, we untap, upkeep, and then we draw, but instead we get to choose, so I'm going to choose, I guess at this point, I will choose Creature. There's a creature. Goes to my hand. Alright, so we're going to play Evolving Wilds and crack it for um, Forest. It comes in the battlefield tap, so it doesn't help us do what we need to do right now, but whatever. I will tap 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 to play Ilharg the Razor Boar. So that's a creature spell, rather. This goes in. So a couple things happen. So whenever another permanent enters the battlefield under your control, if it wasn't put there using the ability, you may put a permanent with equal or lesser converted mana cost from your hand onto the battlefield. I will then play Thorn of Amethyst. Non-creature spells cost 1 more to play. That means for me as well. Now, Ilhar, the Razor Boar, is a 6/6 with Trample. Whenever it attacks, you put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking, return that creature to your hand at the beginning of the next end step. When he dies or is put into the exile from the graveyard, you may put it into its owner's library, third from the top. Alright, so we got ourselves a 14/14 with Trample and a 6/6 with Reach. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, you know what? We don't care about Sheoldred right now. Oh, and that's true. I didn't. Well, no, that does force card draw, so we did lose the life off of that. But then again, if you would draw a card, you may instead. So we could have. I forgot to do that, but that means we gain 2 life back over here because it says at the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent draws a card. But if you would draw a card, you get to choose instead. So it negates all of that. So I don't care about Sheoldred. I want that to keep going and paying them. So we're gonna send Managorger at you. You've got a 2/2. You'll block it just a little bit, and so it's 14, so that's 12 damage. That's a lot. All right, Animar. Not doing too shabby. That's all we're going to do, though, so we're going to pass. So we're going to untap, upkeep, upkeep trigger. We make 2 cats this time, and then we draw a card for turn. We're going to take 2 damage, and let's see what's up. All right, so we're going to tap 3 to play Sword of Feast and Famine. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from black and green. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, that player discards a card and you untap all lands you control. I'm going to tap 2 to equip it to Kemba, which makes her a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. She's now 9 commander damage. However, I don't want to swing. I want to leave her up because now she has protection from green and black. So that means I can block the Managorger and the trample doesn't count because nothing, it's protected from green, so nothing actually hits. So we can't calculate what would go beyond the actual death level. Because in order to have trample, you have to deal the equal number to the creature's toughness, and then anything beyond that is what tramples through. Yeah, I guess that's all we can really do. We're going to pass. All right, untap, upkeep, upkeep trigger. We have 2 triggers. I'm going to draw a card and lose a life, but I also gain 2 life. And thankfully, it is a land finally. But each opponent draws a card. and they will lose 2 life. So, oh yeah, I forgot about that. So draws a card, boom, boom. Unfortunately, Atraxa has been destroyed. Then Kemba does it, draws a card, takes 2 damage. Now, this time around, we get to choose what we want to do. So I'm going to go ahead and choose land. It's a land, so it goes to my hand, but we don't draw it. So we don't take damage. Haha. Now back over here, we'll definitely play the land for turn. Yeah, I have to admit, I'm not sure how Sheoldred is going to beat Animar because all of my spells say making like anything that's going to make them draw a card, they get to choose what they do, and it negates the draw effect. If I go 1, 2, 3, 4 to finally play Thran Dynamo, then I can tap Thran Dynamo to play Infernal Idol. That gets me 2 mana. Unfortunately, that's still not enough, even with things costing less. It just all the black spells I have either cost too much and the -1 doesn't help, or they're all black pips, so it doesn't -1 from Jet Medallion doesn't help either right now. However, you do not have flying. But you do have reach, and it's a 6/6. Shoot. Yeah, that's real bad. That's all we're gonna do. We're gonna leave that up for blockers. What did we play? We played a bunch of stuff though, didn't we? Again, shoot. Alright, I definitely played Thran Dynamo and Infernal Idol. So that is 2 spells. Putting this up to 15. And then you played the sword, which puts it up to 16. Yeah, I don't know. There's a way for Sheoldred to win, but I don't think we're going to get the time to get there. We didn't have the mana fast enough. All right, so we're going to go. I mean, the fact that we're 37 life definitely helps. Yeah, so like I said, we're going to pass. Untap over here. Upkeep, draw. We're going to say creature. That's a creature. And that's cool. Goes to our hand. We're going to play the forest or the mountain we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep. All right. 2 green. Oh, shoot, shoot, shoot. Darn it. Hang on. A lot of that stuff didn't work right. Shoot. Yeah, non-creature spells cost 1 more. So we couldn't have equipped this yet. And over there, Thran Dynamo would have cost 1 more. And we wouldn't have been able to play Infernal and Idol. Yep, that sucks, but it's the way you got to play it. At least I remembered. I mean, obviously I waited till I was over here. That's not the best, but whatever. So now we play 2 forests and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Play Vorinclex, Voice of Hunger. The 7/6 trample. Whenever you tap a land for mana, add 1 mana to your mana pool of any type that land produced. Whenever an opponent taps a land for mana, that land doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. Now, because Vorinclex wasn't on the field, that doesn't affect this round. Everything will untap this time. But once they tap for mana, then it won't untap. Unless they get rid of Vorinclex. However, that's a spell, so that goes up to 17, and trigger Kadama of the East Tree. So I will then play for 1 mana less because, as long as it's equal to or less than the mana value, I would play Caller of the Pack, an 8/6 trample with Myriad, which Myriad says whenever this creature attacks for each opponent other than the defending player, you make a token of it that's tapped and attacking, and it just gets destroyed at the end of, exiled at the end of combat. Okay, so that says you may put a permanent not cast, so this doesn't go up by 1 for the Caller of the Pack. But those are some heavy, heavy hitters there. And we've got ourselves an 18/18 with trample. And that is no longer, poor Kemba is no longer immune to green. And she's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 off of the 18 would be blocked. Everything would get destroyed, but she would survive another round, but then she would just replay Kemba. We haven't been doing much in terms of land, so we wouldn't even be able to play anything else because all other spells cost more. But of course, if we let it through, it would absolutely kill us. Sheoldred is a 4/5 with Death Touch and Hexproof and Haste and all that stuff, and then we got the 5/5 Flyer. And the problem is, if I do attack with the Razor Boar, I no longer have any creatures in my hand, so I won't get that cool effect because I played that Caller of the Pack off of Kodama. See, I'm tempted to send Mana Gorger at them. Although, again, like we said, it doesn't affect us. The draw spells doesn't hurt. It's not going to matter. Yeah, we're going to move to combat and we're going to swing the 18 at you. You have to stack block it. But let's see what happens. Let's think about this. If we block both of these, that's 4 off of the 18. That means 14 gets through. We still survive. So we'll do that. But if we sent anything else in, she could kill it because she's 7/9. These are 6/6s. And well, and it wouldn't do anything. Like it wouldn't kill her, so we would lose a creature. Best to wait until next turn when all 5 of them can swing and make sure that you get through. So we're going to go ahead and pass. There's nothing else we can do there. So that's good. Kemba does survive a little bit. So we untap. Upkeep, we're going to make 2 cats again. Those guys come back. Then we draw a card for turn. We take 2 damage. We're going to die on his upkeep. Shoot. Because we tap 2 to equip Sword of the Feast and Famine. We can tap 2 to play Soul Ring because non-creatures cost 1 more. 3 mana. Maybe we don't. Hang on. Darn it. Again, just like Sheoldred, these two didn't get the land drops they needed. And we got really great cards, but we needed like 1 or 2 more land drops in turn as proper to be able to do better stuff now. And of course, the whole non-creature spells cost 1 more doesn't help. So yeah, that would actually cost all 5 to do this. I don't know that it's really going to help. Okay, you know what I think we're going to do? We're going to do that. We're going to equip that, pay the 2, get out Soul Ring, and we're not going to do anything. No, because I forgot, because on their upkeep I die. Darn it. But again, it's like, okay, cool, I can go out swinging, but I'm just going to help someone else win. I'm not going to win. So part of me is just like, nope, screw it. Fight your own battles. Like sometimes it's like you've seen me go, I'm gonna go out swinging. I don't care, but that's different. That's when it's just 1-on-1 when we're the last 2 people, and it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna die anyway, but I'm gonna ping you for something. This, if I swung in and did some damage, I'm just gonna help Sheoldred win, make it easier for them to try. Or if I swing at Sheoldred, I'm just gonna absolutely give it to them, and I don't like that because what's the point? So yeah, I'm just gonna pass turn. And then at the upkeep over there, we draw a card, take 2 damage, and poor Kemba Kavoosh is the nuts alive. But over here, let's actually do the things properly. So we untap, upkeep, we draw a card, gain 2 life, but we lose 1. And then everyone else draws the card, boom, boom. You draw a card and get to the side. We'll say land. It's not a land. There's 1. That goes to the hand. This goes to the bottom in any order of 1. And then we draw over here for draw step. Gaining 2. It's a land, which we needed, so we will play that. However, like we said, we got to be cognizant of the fact that non-creature spells cost extra. Although the fact that Jet Medallion makes black spells cost 1 less does negate that, so that's cool. But only if it's a black spell, so that was fine. The things for Thran Dynamo still cost more. We couldn't do the Infernal because they were not black spells, so that didn't help. But if we play a black spell, that counters it, that it happens to be a black spell that isn't a actual, what's it? So we will tap 3 and play Underworld Dreams. Now I know what you're saying. They're not drawing any. Nobody draws cards anymore except for us, so that's not going to hurt. But there's a long-term plan that needs that. Then we're going to tap 3 and 1 other to now play the Infernal Idol. And we have 3 mana left. Now here's what I'm thinking. I glossed over it, but Underworld Dreams is 3 black pips. I paid 3. But it's a non-creature spell, so that means it costs 1 more, but black spells cost 1 less. So I think that should negate it. Just because it doesn't have a colorless symbol in its mana value doesn't mean it's, that's the same as commander tax. You know, Costing one less would negate one of the commander taxes. So I'm going to tap these two for black, using the thing that negates it to play Sign in Blood, targeting myself. I'm going to draw 2 cards and lose 2 life. So I draw a card, gain 2 life, draw a card, gain 2 life, then lose 2 life. Both lands, but that's okay. We need those lands. You still have the reach, and we definitely need blockers at this point. All right, we're going to go ahead and pass turn. Untap, upkeep. We're going to say creature. It is a creature, so it goes to my hand. I will play a forest for turn. Okay, so I'm going to tap 1, 2, 3, 4. Play a Rasta of the Endless Web, a 3/5 with reach. Whenever an opponent casts an instant or sorcery spell, create a 1/1 spider, 1/2 green spider creature token with reach. That is a spell, so that's going to go up. And shoot, what did I play over there? Darn, darn, darn. I played Underworld Dreams, I played the Infernal Idol, and I played the thing. So 3 more. Not good. That's 21. Blackjack. All right, so it is now 22-22 with trample. But we're going to use Kadamba's trigger to put Quicksilver Amulet onto the field. It says pay 4 and tap it. You may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. Now I only have 1 card left in my hand. It's not a creature. I need to reevaluate the card draw in this deck, and I think I knew that earlier. I just didn't get around to it yet because of things like this. I need to have a lot of creatures, especially with this and with this. I need creatures in my hand so I can start dumping them faster. I do still have mana open, so I might as well. We're gonna do 1, 2. Oh, but right. Well, it says put it on the battlefield. It's not casting it, so that this doesn't work. This doesn't affect it. But we are going to tap 4 mana to play Trinisphere, which only costs 3. As long as Trinisphere is untapped, each spell that would cost less than 3 mana to cast costs 3 mana in the cast. With this deck, because most of the creatures are huge, there's a lot of mana ramp, it does, and there's not too many cards in here that are under 3 anyway. It doesn't hurt this deck. It hurts a lot of other people's decks, though. This has Summoning Sickness, but everyone else doesn't, and I think that's probably just game. But let's look at the damage. We've got 22, and then 12, so that's 33. All right, we have a total of 48 damage on the field. If we swing all of it, obviously they're going to stop. I mean, if they swing everything, we're going to have to block the Mana Gorger with the Death Touch, and then one of the other creatures with. Well, actually, I guess we would block Kadama's tree because it doesn't have trample, so it would stop that 6. So 6, and she has a butt of 4 or 5 rather. So 11 of the 48 would not go through, which would be 37 damage. But we would be completely bereft of creatures. But yeah, I mean, still have the blocker back here, so that's what we would do. Oh shoot! I forgot all about that. First of all, Boring Flex makes this mana doubled, so some of this isn't tapped. But all of that mana doesn't untap, and that was going to be the one possible failsafe of how we could have won. Yep, now we definitely can't. I mean, we could take it back. It's one of those things where it's like, depends on who, I mean, at this point in the game, I don't know that this person, I mean, it's a casual game, theoretically. If you're playing with your friends, it'd be casual. This person would kind of be like, at some point, somebody at the table would be like, hey, man, you realize Vorinclex is out. You're not going to be able to untap those things. Oh, shoot. So I definitely wouldn't played Underworld Dreams. And I probably wouldn't have played Sign in Blood, because that just got me 2 lands, which is fine. And I wouldn't have played Infernal Idol, which was all of the mana. You know what? It wouldn't have mattered. The whole point is a couple points. I have Gray Merchant of whatever over there that deals damage equal to the number of black mana value symbols you have in permanence, and then you gain that much life. It would have been better if it had been like a full table of people. That's why I was trying to get a bunch of spells out that had pips, as they're called. specifically, like, because he has two, and it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I would have gained 11 life, and it would hit him for 11. But I also have Torment of Hailfire. However, even if I didn't play any of those spells and took it back, I could only cast it for 7, which Torment of Hailfire says repeat this process X times. I would have cast it for 7 being X. Your target opponent, or actually all opponents, I believe, lose 3 life unless they sacrifice a creature, and you do that 7 times. So the max he would have done would have lost 21 life, which he totally would have just done that and then swung it. So it's not going to change the outcome. That would have been this crackback. It's not going to happen. It's fine. We'll just have to see what happens. So anyway, that's what's going in. Blocks this with this. It's destroyed, thankfully, but we're still taking, what do we say, it was 48, and we're stopping 11 of it. First time Sheoldred's been destroyed this game, which is surprising. Although not really, because I don't run a ton of removal. But so that's 11. So it was 37. Okay, down to 5. We pass turn. Upkeep. We draw a card and lose a life, and now we don't actually gain anything off of it. And then we draw a card for turn. Don't gain anything off it. Wow, that was 4 lands in a row. That sucks. We'll play one of them, which, is whatever. Alright, so we'll do it anyway. Oh, wait a second. I forgot about that. Well, okay, hang on. This might actually be okay. We have a slight chance. Okay, so black spells cost 1 less, so that's going to negate the extra tax. We're going to tap 1 to cast Bubbling Muck. Until end of turn, whenever a player taps a swamp for mana, it produces an extra black mana. I forgot about that. So now we tap this for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Now we cast Torment of Hailfire for 14. Oh my gosh, that actually, we're still not going to win, but that's a much bigger, that changes the outcome. I totally forgot. I've been sitting on that stupid Bubbling Muck since I think turn 1. All right, so Torment of Hellfire for 14. That's 42 damage unless you start sacrificing things. A non-land permanent. Now, the good thing is it doesn't really matter, because all we got to do is we sacrifice 1, 2, 3, and 4 right off the bat. So that means it's 10. 10 times 3 is 30. We can totally take 30 damage. They're tapped out. They pass turn. We untap. Just straight draw like normal. The Temple of the False Gods. We'll play it. But they have no creatures. We just swing the board. Kaboosh. And then tons of negative. All right, there you go. Animar actually wins the game. I'm very surprised because these ones are more optimized than Animar, but you can see it's just big dumb creatures. It's not a hard strategy to build around or to do, but I'm pleased with it. I'm really pleased. And plus, you may remember this used to be my Azusa deck. I swapped it over to Animar because I like that ability. I think I actually probably forgot about his ability whenever. Well, no, I think he got blown up pretty early. Like as soon as he came in, he did. As soon as he came in, it got destroyed. So we never actually got to use the ability. But the idea is we're casting all these creatures, and there are a few small creatures in there as well to move it up quicker. Then creatures cost less for all the counters on them. So these giant creatures would come in for like 3 mana, and you could cast a bunch of them in one turn. However, like I said, I definitely need to put a couple more draw spells in here that are like draw 3 cards, draw 2 cards, draw 4 cards, something, so that I can keep refilling the hand with creatures to take more advantage of that. But however, it won, and I'm very pleased with it. So there you go. Match 1, the winner is Animar. I hope you enjoyed the episode. I hope you saw some cool cards that you want to put in your decks, and I will see you next time.